Thank you, Dirk, and thank you for allowing me to present this work that is unpublished work. The title of the presentation is Induced Abortion and Contraceptive Use Among Immigrant and Non-Immigrant Women Seeking Abortion Care in Stockholm County, Sweden. And I am presenting here on behalf of the co-authors and myself, Kristina Gemsel Danielsson, Karin Emtel Ivarsson, Birgitta Essén, and Marie Klingberg Alvin. To start, so what is known about sexual and reproductive health and women with a foreign background? Most research has been focusing on maternal health and pregnancy outcomes and less on family planning and abortion in this group. And I would like to state that we are doing this study in order to provide equitable care and to look into how the care, is the care provided equal, or so that's the whole idea behind this project. But what is known is that immigrant women, they do seek abortion to a higher extent than non-immigrants, has been shown previously, and have less experiences of contraceptive use. So, what did we in this study set out to do? So, among women seeking abortion care, we wanted to investigate if socio-demographic and reproductive factors and contraceptive use differed between women with a foreign background and non-immigrant women. And in this study, we have defined foreign background as being either born outside of Sweden or being born in Sweden but with two parents born outside of Sweden. And that's the definition, and that is also used by Statistics Sweden, so that's the reason. And I mean, this is the first preliminary result, so we have actually grouped this very heterogeneous group of immigrants or women with a foreign background, but you have to wait for the further analysis. Okay, so it was a cross-sectional study at 8 abortion clinics in Stockholm County. And we did this, I mean, I don't know, you might know that in Sweden we have a lot of good statistics and registers in terms of most health outcomes, but not abortion. And that's the only condition. Up to now, this has just been changed, but at the point when we did the study, it's not possible to follow abortions in registers, so therefore we had to conduct a study. But we did this, tried to get as many cases as possible. So we chose those 8 clinics, representing more than 90% of all abortions in Stockholm County. And we included all women seeking abortion care. They were 18 years or older. And we used a questionnaire, and it was the midwives asking the questions after the first visit at the abortion clinic. And we did not include women who had not decided if they wanted to have an abortion or not. So it was only the women who had decided. And when needed, we used an interpreter. So we had 637 participants, 67% were non-immigrants, 33% immigrants, and among those, 70% were foreign-born and 30% were second-generation migrants. And now, some socio-demographic characteristics. If we look at the whole sample plus non-immigrants, they basically represent what is actually shown in national statistics. We have national statistics on group level, so we can see, the age groups. Not to contradict myself, what I said before. If we look at second-generation immigrant women, they were younger as compared to the other groups. And if we look at foreign-born women, they were older. And now, if we look at previous pregnancies among the different groups, we could see that 67, 72, and 83% of the women had been pregnant before. And then among those, having had a previous abortion, it's here. So 72, 70, and 63% have had an abortion before. And what is interesting, I think, is if we look at this group, the second generation immigrant, you saw that they were the youngest age group, but more than 50% of them, or 50% of them, had had 2 or more previous pregnancies. This figure was lower in the older age groups among non-immigrants and foreign-born women, which I think this was not something that we thought we would see in the material. And I think this is interesting. Now, if we move to the contraceptive use, this is contraceptive use ever in life. So we asked the different groups, and non-immigrant women, 99% versus 89% of the foreign-born had used any method before. Among the non-immigrant, pills were the most common, and among foreign-born women, copper IUD was a common method. And this is the contraceptive use at conception when we asked the women if they had used a contraceptive method when they became pregnant this time. So if we look at what I wanted to say here is that among the non-immigrant, 34%, 1/3, had used any method, which means that they had some sort of contraceptive failure, but only 1/4 of the foreign-born women had used, so they were more lacking rather than having a contraceptive failure. And then we asked, so now after this abortion, do you plan to use any method? And then we had slightly different figures, like 95 and 91%, but 90% among the foreign-born. And you can see the different methods. We were a bit interested in looking at the LARC, the long-acting reversible contraception, and here I've summarized that 32% of all women had used LARC ever in life, and 53% of the women plan to use LARC after the abortion. And non-immigrants plan to use LARC to a lower extent as compared to the non-immigrant, as compared to the foreign-born and second-generation immigrants, which was quite interesting. So, to conclude, we need to better understand the results related to the second-generation immigrant women. I think it's interesting to know what are the reasons behind this. And I can say that we did a qualitative study as well that has just been published, where we interviewed midwives and doctors working in abortion clinics. And a specific issue that they brought up was women who were born in Sweden with 2 parents born abroad, that is at risk of being exposed to violence from their family if having sexual intercourse before marriage. It was a group that they lifted as how do we deal with this? I mean, it's very difficult and a challenge for many of the healthcare providers, which they couldn't see how. I mean, the contraceptive counseling was actually lacking in that group, because all these young women wanted to do was to have this abortion carried out and then move away from the clinic and said, no, I'm not going to have sex anymore, but just let this happen now. So I think that goes in line with this one, and I think we should focus on that. And a significant difference was seen between non-immigrant and foreign-born and second-generation immigrant for the type of methods and planned future method used. So we should focus the contraceptive counseling based on our results to young women, immigrant women when they're younger, and the foreign-born women postpartum. And we are starting a project on postpartum contraception among immigrant women in Sweden soon. Okay, thank you.